Okay, hi guys. So my name is Muhammad FAIZ Berizwan. My ID number is AM2311014806. Okay, so today I will present about the background of Top Glove Corporation Berhad. Okay, one of Malaysia's most recognized manufacturing companies and the world largest producer of rubber glove. Okay, so Top Glove was established in 1991 by Tan Sri Dr. Lim Wee Chai and is headquartered in Shah Alam, Selangor. The company produced a wide range of gloves, including latex, nitrile, vinyl, and surgical gloves, and exports them to more than 195 countries across the globe. Okay, over the years, Top Glove has expanded rapidly, operating more than 40 factories across Malaysia, Thailand, and China. Its growth was especially notable during the COVID-19 pandemic when global demand for personal protective equipment increased dramatically. Okay. However, with this rapid expansion came several challenges, particularly in area of industrial relations or IR, which refers to the relationship between employers and employees within a legal, social, and economic context. Top Glove, Top Glove employs more than 20,000 workers, many of who are migrant laborers from countries such as Nepal, Bangladesh, Myanmar, and Vietnam. Managing such a large and diverse workforce has raised important issues regarding labor rights, working conditions, and occupational safety. In recent years, the company has faced a scrutiny and criticism from both local and international organizations over its labor practices. These challenges highlight the importance of industrial relations in maintaining harmony, fairness, and stability within the workplace, especially for a global leader like Top Glove. That's all from me. Thank you. So for this section, I will be discussing one of the major industrial issues faced by Top Glove, the exploitation of foreign workers and violation of labor rights. Between 2020 and 2022, several investigations by both local and international authorities revealed serious concerns about the treatment of Top Glove migrant workforce. Reports showed instances of forced labor, unpaid overtime, passport confiscation, and poor living conditions. In July 2020, the US Customs and Border Protection (CBP) even imposed a ban on importing Top Glove products. This was due to finding of excessive working hours, debt bondage, and movement restrictions, which are all indicators of forced labor. Some workers said to have more than 12 hours a day with minimal rest and were forced to pay high recruitment fees just to secure employment. These practices clearly violated several Malaysian labour laws such as the Employment Act 1955 and the Workers' Minimum Standard of Housing and Amenities Act 1990, as well as international labour conventions. The confiscation of passports and restricted movement also deprive workers of their ability to raise complaints or report grievances, leaving them vulnerable and voiceless. As a result, Top Glove faced global backlash and damage to its reputation, which also brought wider attention to ethical employment standards in Malaysian manufacturing sectors. In response, Top Glove took several corrective action. The company reimbursed around 136 million ringgit in recruitment fees, introduced a zero recruitment fee policy, and built new hostels that met government housing standards. While these steps show the company's commitment to improving compliance, they also highlighted the need for stronger enforcement, transparent recruitment processes, and better communication between employers and employees to prevent similar industry relations conflicts in the future. That's all for the first issue from me. Thank you.
My name is Muhammad Yatul Fida bin Mustafa and my student ID AM2311488820. I will present the second industrial relation issue faced by Top Glove, which is occupational safety and health failures. Top Glove became globally recognized during the COVID-19 pandemic for supplying gloves, but behind that success, there were serious challenges regarding worker safety and welfare. In late 2020, Top Glove faced one of the largest COVID-19 outbreaks in Malaysia's manufacturing sector. Over 5,000 workers were infected, mainly because of overcrowded dormitories, poor sanitation, and lack of proper health control measures. In some cases, more than a dozen workers were forced to share small rooms with limited ventilation. These conditions were a clear violation of the Occupational Safety and Health 1994 or OSHA. Under Section 15(1), employers are legally required to ensure the safety, health, and welfare of employees at work. Top Glove failed to meet this requirement as the living and working conditions pose serious health risks. Additionally, the company had no proper written safety policy and required under Section 61, which further highlighted weaknesses in its risk management system. The consequences were severe. Authorities ordered 28 factories to close temporarily, disrupting global supply and causing major financial losses. The incident also attracted international criticism, damaging the company's reputation. In fact, the United States Customs and Border Protection banned import of the Top Glove product due finding of poor safety and labor practices. This outbreak exposed serious weaknesses in Top Glove industrial relations systems, especially in communication between management and foreign workers. Employees felt unsafe, unheard, and undervalued, which created tension and loss of trust in the company. In response, Top Glove began taking remedial actions. The company collaborated with the Department of Occupational Safety and Health and the Ministry of Health to improve dormitory conditions and hygiene facilities. They established health and safety committees across factories to ensure regular monitoring and compliance in preventive healthcare for workers. In short, this issue demonstrated that occupational safety is not just a legal requirement, it is a fundamental part of maintaining ethical and sustainable industrial relations. The failure to prioritize worker welfare resulted in serious operational, financial, and reputational damage for Top Glove.
Okay, guys. So, for the next part is our assignment objective. Okay. So the first thing first is to examine industrial relations issues at Top Glove focusing on foreign worker management, uh, occupational health and safety, and to explore relevant Malaysian labour legislation, which is Employment Act 1955, OSHA 1994, Industrial Relation Act 1967. It's also to analyse the perspective of employers and employees. And the last one is to propose practical recommendation for sustainable, ethical, and lawful IR practices. That's all from me. My role is done. Thank you, guys.
My name is Muhammad ALIFF Imran bin Muhammad Zain and my student ID is AM2311014803 and I'm going to explain about this part which the company respond and remedial step. Okay, after facing the global criticism and even import bans in 2020, Top Glove realized that the serious reform were necessary. Okay, between 2020 and 2022, the company introduced several major correction action to restore its image and improve industrial relationship. Firstly, Top Glove refund about 136 million ringgit in recruitment fee to foreign workers. Many workers had paid high recruitment fee through agent before coming to Malaysia, which led to debt bondage. By refunding this fee, the company took a big step toward fairness. Secondly, they implement a zero requirement fee policy, meaning that the worker no longer had to pay any money to secure employment. All recruitment expenses are now fully borne by the company. Okay, for the second one, thirdly, the company built a hostel that meet the standard government standard under the worker minimum standard of housing and amenities of 1990. This was done to eliminate overcrowded dormitories, improve sanitation, which had been a major contributor to COVID-19 spread among workers. Additionally, the company introduced grievance hotline and employment welfare community to improve communication and allow workers to raise issue safety. They also collaborate closely with the International Labour Organization, which is the shortcut is ILO, to ensure that all the new reforms match international labour standard. What more important is the culture transformation that follow. Tokglove started shifting from a profit center mindset to a people-centered corporate culture, emphasizing that employer welfare, dignity and safety are key components of sustainable success. This action not only helped rebuild global trust but also stretch the company internal human resources policy for the future. Okay, next I will move on the first law relevant to this case, which is the Employment Act 1955. This act is one of the most important labour laws in the Malaysian, as it governs the basic term and condition of the employment, including working hours, wages, rest day and allowable deduction. However, investigation show that the Tokglove violates several key sections of this act. For example, under section 16A(1), an employment cannot require to work more than 8 hours per day or 48 hours per week unless overtime is properly approved and paid. But in the Tokglove case, workers often found working between 10 to 12 hours daily and sometimes without proper overtime pay. The next section is 60D(1), state that every employee must be allowed on rest day in each period of 7 days. Many foreign workers reported not getting their weekly rest day due to high production demands, especially during the pandemic when glove demand were extremely high. Another major issue was the violation of the section 24(1), which is prohibit the employers from making unapproved wage deduction. Many workers complain that the requirement agency deduct portion of their salary to recover placement fee, which was illegal. This situation supported by the related case like Jelvelet Sendirian Berhad vs Lukman Hakim and Anor, where the court ruled that unauthorized wage deduction are illegal, reinforcing that the employer earning must be protected under the law. In response to this violation, Tokglove installed digital time tracking system to monitor working hour accurately and ensure that overtime is voluntary and fully fair. This system also helped the maintaining the transparency and prevent overworking, aligning with legal and ethical employment standard. Okay, the next law is the Occupational Safety and Health Act 1994 or OSHA, which aimed to ensure that every employer provide a safety and healthy working environment of all employers. In Tokglove case, the company was found to have breached several important sections of the act, particularly during the COVID-19 outbreak in 2023. Firstly, section 15(1) state the employer must ensure the safety and health and welfare of their employer while at work. Unfortunately, due to the poor sanitation and overcrowded dormitories, over 5,000 workers were infected with the COVID-19, clearly showing a failure to fulfill this obligation. Secondly, Section 61 requires the employers to formulate a writing safety and healthy policy. However, Top Glove did not have a comprehensive policy in place to address the pandemic risk or guidance preventing action before outbreak occur. Thirdly, Section 17(1) highlights that the employers must not engage in any conduct that endangers the health and safety of others. Because this infection spread rapidly among workers, the risk extended beyond the factory to surrounding communities, violating this section as well. As related legal precedent is seen in Jabatan Keselamatan dan Kesihatan Pekerja vs Sri Kamusan Sendirian Berhad 2023, where the employment was held accountable for failing to maintain workplace safely. In response to this failure, the Top Glove worker closely with the Department of Occupied Safety and Health, or we call OSHA, and the Minister of Health, MOH. The company upgrade dormitory hygiene, improve validation system, conduct regular health screenings, and establish health and safety communities with each factory. This step mark a turning point in how the company prioritize worker welfare and workplace safety, transforming its safety management from reaction to proactive. Okay, now let's move on the Industrial Relations Act 1967 or IRA, which focus on promoting fair and harmonious relationship between employers and employees. Okay, before the reforms, Top Glove flooring workers had very limited union involvement. Many of them were hesitate or afraid to join union because they fear losing their job or facing other form of punishment. This situation clearly violate their basic right under the Act. Okay, let's look at the few key provision. Section 4(1) provide every worker with the right to form or join trade union of their choice. Section 7(1) requires that both employers and employees to negotiate in the good faith. Section 9(3) protects worker from any form of employers interferences in the union activity. A very relevant case here is Ismail Nasaruddin vs MAS 2023, which highlight that even union leaders are protected from dismissal or discrimination when performing union duty. Recognizing the importance of this, the Top Glove company took several steps to rebuild trust. The company formed a dedicated labor relationship department to handle industry dispute, strange employer relation. Human resources manager will give training on fair negotiation practice and conflict resolution. In addition, Top Glove improved its grievance process, ensuring that workers can safely report issue or unfair treatment without fear of retaliation. This is especially important for migrant workers who often feel vulnerable in a foreign country. Through this change, the company began to create a more open and transparent community system, one of the encourage cooperation rather than fear and mutual respect rather than tension. Ultimately, this action helped Top Glove align more closely with the true spirit of the Industrial Relations Act, which is to promote peace, fairness, and equality between employees and employees.
Assalamualaikum. My name is UNGKU Muhammad IQBAL bin UNGKU Muhammad Razaini. My student ID is M2311014779. Today I'm going to explain about one of the most defining related case or incidents in the Top Glove history. The incidents which shook the entire company and the Malaysian manufacturing sectors. So, in July 2020, the US Customs and Borders Protection or CB has issued a withhold release order against the Top Glove. This meant that all of the Top Glove products were banned from ever entering the US markets. which is one of their largest export destinations. So you might be wondering what triggered these drastic moves. So based on the investigation that has been done, it is revealed that the clear indicator of forced labor, things like excessive overtime, detentions of worker passport, and debt bondage caused by a high recruitment fees. Reports from Reuters and The Guardian confirm that the workers were living in an overcrowded and poorly maintained hostel, with many paid thousands just to secure their jobs. These conditions have violated several key Malaysian labour laws, including the Employment Act of 1955, Workers' Minimum Standard of Housing and Amenities Act of 1990s, and also the Occupational Safety and Health Act 1994, OSHA. And if that wasn't bad enough, in November 2020, a new disaster struck again. A major COVID-19 outbreak spread through the company Kelang's factory, infecting more than 5,000 workers. So the authorities had to shut down 28 factories due to unsafe and overcrowded dormitories, which is a clear sign that the company's safety management system had failed them. And here's where the story began to change. Instead of denying the responsibilities, Top Glove has took a significant remedial steps. They have reimbursed millions in recruitment fees, constructed new hostel that met the government standards, and also partner with the International Labour Organization (ILO) in order to improve the safety and workers' welfare. After demonstrating the full compliance and reform, the US has lifted its import ban in September 2021, a huge milestone for the company, if I do say so myself. Now moving on to the other related cases. So beyond just breaking the labor laws, there were several internal and external factors that fueled the crisis. Internally, the company was expanding at a lightning speed, especially during the pandemic. This rapid growth has led to a very high production targets and excessive overtimes, putting immense pressure on both the workers and supervisors. The situation created a stress, fatigue, and growing tensions across the different levels of the workforce. Another major internal issue was that the Top Glove itself depended on the outsourced recruitment agents. These third-party agents often overcharge the migrant workers or engage in an unethical hiring practices, such as charging high placement fees, practice that eventually dented the company reputation itself. At the same time, the language and cultural barrier became a serious communication problem. Many workers came from the Nepal, Bangladesh, Myanmar, and Vietnam were not very fluent in Bahasa Malaysia or English. Because of this, they were often unaware of their rights or how to access their grievance channel. So, and next, to make matters worse, the lack of strong worker representative meant that the issues went unnoticed and unaddressed until that escalated into a full-blown crisis. However, Top Glove learned that from these witnesses and took quite a meaningful steps forward. The company established a direct recruitment system, cutting out the unethical agent entirely. It also hired a multilingual welfare officer in order to help bridge the communication gaps and introduce an open door policies, encouraging an open conversation between the management and also the workers. The regular workers' engagement meeting were also introduced in order to build and strengthen the employer and employees relationships. So from this reform, didn't just restore the workplace harmony, but they also align the Top Glove with the global environmental, social, and governance (ESG) standard. Through these changes, the company has begun positioning itself as a more ethical and transparent, inclusive business ready for a long-term sustainability. Finally, let's look at the impact this entire industrial relations crisis had on both the Top Glove and its employees. Starting with the employer side. The Top Glove faced a major financial and operational losses. The US has import ban and COVID-19 cluster closure led to a reduce in sales, halted the productions and also temporary loss of global credibility. However, the crisis also acted as a wake-up call for them. It pushed the company to reform its management system and improve the transparency and strengthen the compliance with the labor laws. The Top Glove introduced new HR regulations, hired external auditors, and adopted ethical labor standards, not just to repair its image, but also to build a sustainable foundation for the future. So from this, the result came that the company began to regain the stakeholders' trust and also restore its reputation in its global marketplace. It became a strong example of how adversity can lead to a positive transformation when the right lessons are learned. Now, turning to the employee's perspective, so initially the crisis brought stress, uncertainty, and insecurity. Many of the workers feared of losing their jobs during the investigation due to the factories' shutdowns. But the reforms that follow have brought significant long-term benefits. Workers began to enjoy improved housing, fairer contracts, and regular wages, and also a strong commitment to the safety. The creation of the grievance channel and welfare committee gave employees a real voice in addressing workplace issues, something that they never had before. In addition, the Top Glove provide HR learning programs in order to educate their workers about their rights under the Employment Act, Occupational Safety and Health Act, and also the Industrial Relations Acts. So this initiative empower the workers with the knowledge and the confidence in order to help them feel protected, respected, and also included in the company growth. So overall, you can say that while the IR crisis have brought a serious pain at first, but ultimately it paved a way for a much healthier, fairer, and more sustainable working environment, benefiting both the company and also its people in the long run.
My name is Muhammad Janatul Firdaus bin Mustafa and my student ID AM2311088820. Now I will presenting our conclusion, recommendation and limitation. For conclusion, the Top Glove case highlight the vital importance of ethical industrial relations and strong employee protection system. When a company fails to safeguard worker welfare, as seen in the unsafe dormitory and factory conditions, it risks legal action, reputational damage, and a loss of trust from both employees and global partners. However, Top Glove also show that change is possible. Through reform between 2020 and 2022, the company managed to rebuild its reputation, comply with international labor standards, and move from profit-driven culture to a people-centered approach. Now let's look at our recommendation for maintaining and improving industrial relations. First, conduct regular labor audit to ensure all working and living conditions comply with the Employment Act, OSHA, and Industrial Relations Act. Second, strengthen employee representation by giving foreign workers a platform to voice their issues through union participation or worker committees. Third, implement continuous safety and ethics training to keep all employees and managers aware of proper safety standards and ethical behavior. Fourth, collaborate with authorities like DOS and the International Labour Organization to benchmark against global best practices in the labor right and safety. Last, integrate corporate social responsibility program, focusing on worker welfare, mental health, and community to support enhance loyalty and morale. If Top Glove continues these practices, it can maintain a positive employer-employee relationship and strengthen its global competitiveness. Last, for our limitation, this study is based on secondary data such as online reports, company statement, and media articles, meaning there was no direct interview or field observation. The focus on one company, Top Glove, also limit generalization to the entire Malaysian manufacturing sector. Moreover, labor law may evolve over time which could affect the future relevance of our finding. Despite this limitation, the case provides valuable lesson. It reminds us that ethical labor management and occupational safety are not just legal obligations, they are essential foundation for sustainable business growth and global credibility.